Hi friends, it's Doreen and welcome to my channel today. Back to Home with Doreen. Today we're going to be making key lime cheesecake. Doesn't that sound good? I'm thinking about summer, so I want to plan some of my summer recipes or summer desserts. Well, actually I am thinking of recipes too, like menus, because this year is our country's 250th anniversary, and I thought we got to make some fun patriotic stuff too. But right now, I'm focusing a little bit on some spring and summer events. So I want to make this key lime cheesecake. If you want to make it too, come and follow along with me. This is a recipe I made. I used, oh gosh, I was looking at the recipe page because I had it printed out. It was from Epicurious. It was a key lime cheesecake with the mango ribbons, and I'm gonna change it up just a little bit. But I made this back in 2004, and it was delish. It was pretty easy, what I remember, and I don't even think it cracked. So let's just cross our fingers today. But join me if you'd like to make a nice key lime cheesecake. With this cheesecake, you do need about a cup. I think it was a cup and a half of key lime juice. So, or no, you need 3/4 a cup. You need about 1.5 to 2 pounds of key limes. They usually sell. Hold on, I'm getting my recipe here. Yeah, this is the Epicurious one. They call for 3/4 a cup of fresh key lime juice, um, strained from 1.5 pounds of key lime. So I bought 2 pounds. I gave them a good rinse in already in a vinegar bath, and now I'm just gonna cut them all up because we gotta squeeze them. And I have one of these little handy dandy juicers, so we're gonna start with that. And that's one of the steps we've got to do. So let's get that going. Trying to decide what's the best way to. I'm going to use my measuring cup and squeeze it into there. So I counted, blah, blah, blah. I cut them lengthwise and halfwise. I think the halfwise maybe will give me more juice. I got a good amount of juice out of that. So just wanted to see what it is. And you'll need a couple of bowls to put um, your finished limes done. So let's get them cut up and get our juice. Now, I did get 2 pounds of key limes, but I bought a couple of regular limes just in case. I was like, am I going to have enough juice? We'll see. So let's get these cut up. I thought I would try a few and just lean on them, get some of the juices going. I forgot about that. I forgot I wanted to do that. Sometimes when you do that, you get a little more. Well, actually, you usually get a lot more juice out of it. So, bummer I didn't do it on those other ones, but let's just go with the flow. This morning I've been listening to my song list of my 70s favorite tunes. Makes me feel like summer when I hear that. Now I'm in my early 60s. So if you're younger, sorry, but you can relate, when you have your favorite tunes and it reminds you of your youth and the carefreeness of summer. Being a kid, you didn't really have that many worries. I mean, I always had a job when I was a kid, pretty much, but as a teenager, but still didn't have all the responsibilities of paying bills, uh, paying a house mortgage, paying a car loan. So anyway, it was fun listening to that music. Of course, I have it off now because that would be a copyright problem. Bummer, huh? We gotta figure that out. It's just fun to, I love to listen to music and cook. What about you? So I'm just gonna go ahead and squeeze these. I'm not gonna make you watch the whole thing. And we'll be back. We're going to go ahead and put together the crust. Now, this typical recipe calls for graham cracker crumbs, and I haven't totally decided if I'm going to just do coconut or yeah, I have these Mexican coconut cookies, and kind of see how they look, like a little biscuit. Give them a try, actually. Oh, they're nice and flavorful. There's no like pieces of coconut. It's just a flavor. I'm gonna. I was thinking about um maybe doing this as a crust. I was telling my daughter, I'm gonna make this mango cheesecake I made years ago, and I said I wanted to do a little bit different spin. She's like, why don't you use those coconut cookies and use that in the crust? I'm like, no, that's a good idea. So I do have the graham crackers just in case. I think I'm gonna be happy with this. And a shout out to my daughter, Hannah Lopez. She has a YouTube channel. She does scrapbooking. She's been doing that for several years. And you can, if you subscribe, you'll be able to see we did a collaboration together near Christmas time. We made some of our family favorite Christmas cookies. One of the videos, and then we also did a little bit talking about scrapbooking. So if you're into scrapbooking, check her out, Hannah Lopez at the Crafty Maven Getaway. So anyway, that's a little plug for Hannah. So she gave me the idea of this. So let's blend this up. We need 1¼ cup of these crumbs. And I'm just using my mini chopper. If you watch my videos for any length of time, you know I love this. I do have a food processor, which I could use on this recipe, but it's heavy and I don't have enough counter space to leave it out. So let's try. That looks pretty good. I'll get a close up. Friends, let me know in the comments what are your favorite summertime desserts. Actually, when you're ready, before you're even ready to make your crust, go ahead and put your oven on, which I need to do that. 350. I'm gonna start that. We're gonna put this on the middle rack. We're gonna bake our cheesecake on the middle rack. Let us measure out our graham, or not our coconut cookie. I'm gonna go ahead and just pour it over this bowl. And so here's a 1/2 cup. So here is a close up so you can get a good idea of how your crumbs should be. Here's a whole cup, and we need a little bit more. So I would say need like about a sleeve of these. And this is a 1 pound box of they're called Rico Coco from the El Mexicano brand. These cookies are really good. I could see lots of possibilities of desserts. My mind is just racing with some ideas. one sleeve of cookies, and got what we need. You know what? That's just a little bit over, so I'm just gonna dump that all in there. I'm gonna put together this crust. So we have the cookie crumbs. We're gonna use about 3 tablespoons of sugar. And mix that together. We're gonna use half a stick of melted butter. Just want to get that sugar nice incorporated. And you do need to butter the bottom of your spring form pan. You do need that for this. That's how you release the cheesecake. Because otherwise, if you try to do it in a regular cake pan, it will stick and crack and want that snug in there. Because we're going to be baking this a little bit in a water bath, which that recipe didn't say. But, oh, I don't have it in there right now. So let me play around with that a little bit. It's got a, if you've seen that, my lighting isn't that great. There's a little rim here, and it needs to set in that rim snugly. Okay, do I need to watch a YouTube channel on how to get that bottom part in there? Because I haven't made a cheesecake in forever. So. I'm wondering if that was, no, that wasn't my last cheesecake in 2004. But it's been quite a while. As they like to say, a hot minute. Good. I do. Yay! You can do it too. All right, let's pour our butter in there. And I microwaved that like in 10-second intervals so we don't get splatter all over the place. You want this little crumble. This seems like a lot of butter for this. Let me just double check my recipe. I'm like, wow, that's... Yeah, half a stick. Not really a quarter cup. I feel like it was more. I said half. Oh, half a stick. That's the problem. I used more than... But thankfully I have about a quarter cup. Let me check. That's what it was. I was reading half a cup. Oh my gosh, that's great because there's about like a quarter cup left. So I only used a quarter cup, maybe like a tablespoon more or a little less. Teaspoon more. Ooh. Doke. Pour that in there. We've got the crusting in there. Let's pat it down. Let's smooth it out a little bit. And this is just going to be on the bottoms. I know some crusts, they have it up on the sides. I don't think this one did. I probably should double check. Just trying to make sure it's even across. So let me check my recipe. All right, make the crust. Press evenly onto bottom and 1/3 up the side. Oh, it is up the side. Well, let's get a spatula. on the side. Got more in the middle, so I'm just scooting some over. I'm just using the bottom of the measuring cup to kind of pat it together so it's compressed and compact. Oh, I don't have enough on this side. I can see I have a little bit more in the middle. Scoot that over. And we're going to bake this in our preheated oven for about 8 to 10 minutes. Keep your eye on it. Some parts I have a little more than a third. So I'm just kind of going along with the edge of a fork and trying to make it a little even here. There we go. I'm happy with that. We don't want it to all fall apart. Let me go to cut it. So there we go. And it looks pretty good. I'm going to set my timer at 9 minutes. Okay, let's get this out of the oven and let it cool. We'll let it cool a little bit before we're going to make our filling, but we'll put our filling in there. Oh, I hope it wasn't too much. Maybe I should have done it for 8. I had a lot of butter in it. Let's see. We want to turn our oven down to 325. There we go. This could have been in a little bit less. I might have even gotten away with 7. We'll see. Let's put our cream cheese. We have 2 packets of room temperature cream cheese. I've got 2 8-ounce packages. I'll put that in our stand mixer, and we're going to beat this on medium speed. until it's kind of fluffy. I don't want to remember this. I already measured my sour cream because we need sour cream in there. We need to have more room temperature. It's not going to be quite. But I don't know about you, but I love cheesecake. And I grew up in Connecticut, so I remember having some very good cheesecakes as a kid. I don't remember us having it all that often. It was expensive probably back then also. But there was a lot of great Italian bakeries in the town I grew up. Shout out to East Haven, Connecticut. Go Easties. But we're closer to New York City there. I think in Connecticut, I actually live closer to New York City than when I lived in upstate New York. We had a lot of diners that had cheesecake. So we had our exposure to the classic New York cheesecake. And there was this one place, I think it was in Guilderland or Rotterdam, New York. Now we're going back. It was called a Slice of Heaven, and they had the most amazing cheesecakes. And I remember them having like a some kind of Kahlua mocha. Oh my gosh, that was so good. I'd like to reinvent that. So we're gonna whip this on medium speed, so we're nice and light and fluffy. Let it do its thing. Let's take a look at that. We'll probably just scrape down the sides. Get our spatula. It's coming along nice. I had this going for maybe 2 minutes. And we'll put our sugar in. Okay, let's put the sugar in. And we need 1 cup and 2 tablespoons. Oh, there's my measuring cup. This is a half a cup, so we need 2 of these. Put it back on medium. There's half. There's 1 cup. 1 tablespoon and 2 tablespoons. Let that mix in. All right, we've got that where we want. Now we're going to add in our lime juice, our sour cream, and our vanilla, and we're going to beat that until it's smooth. Well, let's go with our lime juice. We already measured and strained that. Half a cup of sour cream. And some vanilla. We're going to use, what is it, 1 teaspoon? It says a half a teaspoon. I'm going to do more than that. I use this pure vanilla bean paste. That's pretty nice. I'm going to use 1 teaspoon. I like a little extra vanilla than most recipes call for. Okay, so we're just going to beat that until it's smooth. And then we're going to add our our salt, flour, and then we'll add the eggs one at a time. I'm gonna give this a scrape down because some of it's sticking to the side. I want to make sure all that is incorporated. Ah, messy hands. Still a little lumpy. I gotta make it smooth. I'm gonna wash my hands. It says at low speed we're gonna do everything else. I don't think we don't have to mix on low speed until we put the flour and salt in. And it is pretty thin. Flour definitely will thicken it up in the baking. Alright. So now we're going to add in our flour and salt. We need about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Make sure I didn't turn the camera off. Alright, come on. I can't quite get it in there. Alright, let's put a little bit more. There we go. That was tricky. And then we're going to put in 2.5 tablespoons, and I already measured that out. So we're going to put this on low. Let it do its thing. These are room temperature eggs. All at once, it says, right? Oh, wow. Put it in there. And then it says just do it till it's incorporated. Not very long. Let's check it out. A few more seconds. All right, I'll put that in the. I'm going to put aluminum foil on the bottom of this because we're going to put it in a shallow baking pan. And the Epicurious recipe says to put it just in a shallow baking pan. It doesn't say water, and it's been so many years I can't remember, and I just feel nervous without putting water in there. So I'm going to put water. I'm going to go out on a limb. And you can see I'm just covering this up the sides really well so the water doesn't leak in to our crust. I think we got enough aluminum foil on there. I might do one more. I get nervous. I don't want to have my cheesecake get soggy and get water in there. So now we'll do it the opposite way I just did it there. It should be good now to go, right, friends? Okie dokie, we've got our pan nicely covered with aluminum foil in our in our shallow baking pan. I'm giving this a quick little, because it was sitting here for a few minutes. Pour our filling in here. Looks awful thin. I hope it'll set up. All the directions. I don't know. I always feel like cheesecakes are kind of intimidating. What about you? Pour that over the crust. And then we'll scrape out all that lovely cheesy filling. Sorry. See part of my arm and not what I'm doing here. Right. So we're baking this in the middle. And we're going to put it in the oven first. We're not going to put the water in there because if you drop that and splash that hot water on you, that would be terrible. So we are going to put this in the oven for safety. Right? Now we can take our hot water. And we're just putting a little bit in there. Maybe a quarter inch. That's in the bottom for 1 hour. I'm going to actually do 55 minutes. Look at my oven light. The directions say it takes about an hour to about an hour and 10 minutes. Again, okay. I had my cheesecake in here for an hour and 10 minutes. I have the light on. I'm like, I'm not sure it's done. And I rechecked my other pot holder. Hold on. I rechecked my directions and I even looked online, but I couldn't pull up all the information on that recipe. Because I'm like, usually cheesecakes, you leave it, you turn the oven off and let it go a little bit longer and then cool it on the rack. But it says to pull it out and then cool it on the rack. So, oh, it does. It says it still sets. It is set. Yeah, it is set. So I'm going to get a close-up of that so you can see almost all the water. There's like maybe a couple of tablespoons of water left in there. Let me turn my oven off and get you a close-up of this. So here is a close-up of it. You can see it's set. Let me jiggle a little bit so you can get a better idea. See, it is set. Now there are little bubbles, air bubbles. I probably should have tapped that while it was more liquid before I put it in to get any air bubbles out. And let's hope this doesn't crack. But it's looking pretty good. And I'm going to take it out of this pan and put it on the rack. I'm going to go with the process. It looks wonderful. Careful, it's very hot. Yeah, when I took this out, it definitely have more than two tablespoons. Maybe a quarter cup left of water. See, not much. Can you see? You can't even see that. So there's very little. Alright, we'll let this pan cool down a little bit. We'll let our cheesecake. We're not going to make our topping right now. And most of the reviews put it in the refrigerator overnight. That's going to probably be the best texture. So I want to make the topping today, but I don't think that's wisdom. So this might be this will be one video, but it might take me 2 days. I wanted to try to get it all done tonight, but I don't think it'll be enough hours to cool down, but that looks nice. All right, Doreen, stop playing with it. I've had my cheesecake cooling for a little over an hour, a half hour into the cooling process. I took that aluminum foil. I just wanted to make sure this cheesecake set. Now, I'm not going to remove it from the springform pan yet, but I am going to run a knife around the edge here. And I'm going to refrigerate this because it's better if it sits overnight, I think. You definitely don't, I don't think you want to serve it this the same day. But if you started early in the morning, you probably could. And then I'm going to put some plastic wrap on there and we'll refrigerate it. It's getting cooled. It's a little bit warm, but it's nice and set. Let me actually get a close-up of that. So look how well this is set. It is set very nicely. I'm going to give it a shake so you can kind of see. So, can't wait to taste it. All right, friends, let's make a mango glaze for our key lime cheesecake. I have been so good not to break into that cheesecake, and it's been hard. So let's go ahead and get that started. Gonna need 2 ripe mangoes, and I have a bad habit of letting my mangoes sit too long. This one seems okay. We're gonna peel off the rind, of course. And one thing you can do, now the original recipe that I am getting this cheesecake from is they did like a ribbon, mango ribbons. And they set that on top of, like, you'll make a whipped cream, put that on top of the cheesecake, and they can use like a mandolin slicer and have ribbons. And I remember doing that years ago, but that was a little harder to bite into with it like that. So I decided to go with a mango glaze, and I think it'll look real pretty. But this is really super juicy. I wanted this to look like a burst of sunshine. And we'll go to the other one. If you wanted to do the ribbons on here, you could do that if you have the mandolin slicers, because that can cut it very thin for you. Well, I'm making a mess. And I did a lot of research on mango glazes. They could call it a coulis or a glaze or a puree. And with much research, this is what I decided to go with. We'll see how it turns out. I see quite a few people do use cornstarch to thicken it. I found a couple of recipes or so that don't, and I'd like to not use the cornstarch, but we'll see how it turns out. I mean, we use cornstarch. I make strawberry pies. I make a raspberry pie. Ooh, which reminds me, last summer I did a raspberry peach pie. You got to check that out. That was so yummy. But yeah, I use cornstarch, or some of the fruit pies I use tapioca, which we wouldn't be able to use tapioca in this glaze. All right, let's slice this up. Wash our hands, and I'm going to use a paper towel to hold that because I don't want my hand to slip and cut myself. That would not be fun. All my hand towels. All right, get some more paper towels. Let's see, what knife do I want to use for that? All right. I should have the camera go on the other side so you can see better, but it's real slippery. Probably should have done this with a peel on. Yeah, I knew better. That would have been easier, I think. This is pretty ripe. This knife is not good. Maybe this paring knife. Where is that one? Yeah, I should have kept that skin on and tried to cut it in half and then make the little squares on there. But I had a couple of extra mangoes I thought I could use, and they weren't good, so I got sidetracked of what I wanted to do. And I think to make the ribbons, if I decided to do that, because this is so ripe, I don't think that would have worked good. So this plan, I think is going to work well. I'm going to put this in my little mini chopper and blend it up. You could use your Vitamix, your food processor. I have to see if I have to do 2 batches. I want this to be nice and blended, and we're going to strain it a little bit to have a nice creamy glaze. That's the plan. Let me know if you're a big fan of cheesecake. What is your favorite cheesecake? Yeah, I love a simple New York cheesecake. Like I was telling you earlier, I like that. Remember having a Kahlua, I think Kahlua and chocolate cheesecake. That was really good. And then we've got the Cheesecake Factory, right? We've got all sorts of yummies. Yummy, yummy flavors. Are you one that you always get the same flavor because you know what you like and you don't want to be disappointed, so you don't pick something else? Or are you the one that like gotta try different ones because they're like, this might be my new favorite, or I just want to experience something different? I tend to like to experiment a little, but I do have my certain favorites that I do stay in a ballpark of a few, maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 favorites, because quite frankly, I don't go out to Cheesecake Factory that much, especially with restaurants right now and the prices of everything, and I don't spend that much on a piece of cheesecake. I'm not saying it's not worth it, but gotta watch those dollars right now. So, all right, let's get this blended up. Wash the hands again. I thought maybe there's something else fit in here, but it does. So. I'm hoping that was enough. Let's go ahead and strain that out. Just whatever size strainer I have. This seems to work pretty good. I have another one too, but I could use that one. I think I have another one beside this, actually. That might be too big. I don't know, maybe not. This one's a little bit, this one's difficult. Maybe I could, yeah, I can use that one. It's bigger. I don't even know if I really have to strain this. It looks pretty creamy. Just scraping off the bottom. I don't know. I'm not gonna give me that much. I think by the time, I wish I had one more mango. Friends, I went ahead and I got like halfway through this, and I'm like, I'm not building up any pulp in here. I mean, there's a few little fibers, um, but all in all, because I only had two, I decided just to not finish it. I put the rest of the puree in here, so probably maybe 1/2 to 1/4 of this is definitely, I would say, a good half is run through the sieve. If you have to have it extremely creamy for your liking, then go ahead and sieve the whole thing. But I think I'm good. So I'm gonna put this in a pan. Put this on low heat for now. And we're gonna add a little sugar, a pinch of salt, and some vanilla. Get all this goodness out of the bowl. If I was just doing this not for video, I would just not waste all these extra bowls, but I wanted you to be able to see what that looks like. And now I'm going to leave be. Alright, so let me turn that up a little bit. I'm going to do like a pinch of salt. And a 1/4 cup of, I'm using the baker's sugar. It's more fine. I thought maybe it will dissolve a little bit better in here. That's the plan anyway. If you want more filling, which I wish I had a little bit more here, I definitely would use 3 mangoes. It depends on the size of your mangoes. Mine more like, I would say, a medium mango. And we're going to add a little vanilla to this. We want to cook this till that sugar dissolves. And then, of course, we have to let it cool before we can put it on our cheesecake. I'm going to use about maybe not quite a teaspoon of vanilla bean paste. All right, let's cook that a little bit. Oh, that smells good. Smells wonderful. All right, I'm going to put that on medium heat. I'm going to get my stuff ready. I'm going to make the whipped cream. We can make that ahead of time too. Let's put our cream cheese in the stand mixer. We're going to make a little bit of a cream cheese whipped cream. Need a little bit of vanilla, and we'll just need a little bit of sugar. Make sure you give a good stir to your mango glaze. I think that's to the thickness I want. So I haven't decided I was going to add cornstarch if I need it a little thicker. I think I might pass it. I'm going to turn that off. And I use about a 1/2 packet of cream cheese, so about 4 ounces, and I'm just going to put it in little chunks. And I'm not perfectly measuring this. I've made this for gosh, probably for like 20 years. It goes great. This whipped cream goes great with like if you're serving just a nice big juicy bowl of strawberries. This is a nice whipped cream. If I'm doing a summer fruits or something and I want to make a big batch, or I'm frosting a cake, I'll use a whole brick of cream cheese, and I will also use more heavy cream to make a big batch. But this is going to be a small batch. So we're going to whip that, let it get nice and light and fluffy. I'll let it whip a little bit, then I'm going to add a little bit of sugar. The thing about my sauce here I do want it, sometimes when you cool down, it'll thicken up a little bit. You don't want it running all over the place. We are going to use the whipped cream on the edges of the cheesecake. That's the plan anyway. All right. Let's go ahead and put one, two, 2.5 tablespoons of sugar. Give that a good whipping through. I'm going to scrape down the bowl. And after we get this whipped a little, we'll change the attachment to the whipping cream. All right. Let's get my whip attachment. Here we go. Using some heavy whipping cream. Now, if you want your mango sauce to cool off pretty good, quick, you can also stick it in the freezer for a little bit. Just don't leave it in there too long, because that will change. It'll get all watery and everything. But I think if you put it in there for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, it'll chill down a little quicker for you if you need it. In a more, if you're like chomping at the bit for time. I'm going to put a little bit of vanilla, not even a teaspoon, probably that one. Might have to add a little more. Now we are doing key lime. We could put a little bit of lime zest in there. We can put a little bit of key lime juice in there. I might just put the key lime zest. But then if I want to use it for something else, then maybe I won't do that. And we want nice, sturdy little peaks, soft little peaks. You don't want to beat it so much that you get butter. Every once in a while, you gotta just scrape down the sides. Coming along. Yeah, I think if I was doing 2 cups of whipped cream and a whole block of cream cheese, I might put a good whole teaspoon or a teaspoon and a half. I like a lot of extra vanilla. That's perfect. Is that enough? Do I want to put a little more? I want a little extra. I'm going to pour a little bit more. 2 tablespoons. And then whatever I can't fit in here, I'll put in a container and get that nice and chilled. The nice thing about this whipped topping, it's because it's not as thick as icing. Sometimes when you put this in the, if you have buttercream or something and then put it in the fridge, it's a pain to get it to come out. But can I fit a little here? I could fit a little bit more. It's really tasty. All right, get that in the fridge. Get this, and once our puree cools off, we can put together that cheesecake. Yum! Let's remove this out of the spring form pan. Release that little latch. And doesn't that look beautiful? Oh. Well, let's see, will it fit on this nicely? Yeah, I think that looks pretty. I'm going to take some close-ups of that. I'm going to put it even on a cake stand, too. I took a few pictures of this cheesecake. I put my hair up. I'm like, my hair is in my way. So, a couple different ways we can do this. If you're just serving a few slices, then I would just not put the whole topping on. Like, say if you're just having a couple people over, or just you and a friend or whatever, just put on the sauce individually. If you're going to serve it all at once, then go ahead and top the coat. And I'm going to top it right now. I wanted to use a serving spoon. Let's use a tablespoon. And we could do it one or two ways. We could do could see how our piping, we could pipe on our whipped cream and then put it on the middle. And this is a little rosette setting, so just kind of do that and then put it in the middle. I might try to do it first in the middle. And our glaze did thicken up a little bit. Yeah, I think it's better to do it like this. I don't need that whole amount either. Now let's go ahead and do our whipped cream. I'm making little shells. You can do little rosettes if you want. Isn't this going to be such a nice little cheesecake for summer picnic, special occasion? I was telling one lady I work with, she goes, we were talking about some of our favorite summer dishes, and she goes, you know what I absolutely love? I love key lime cheesecake. And I'm like, oh my gosh, gotta be kidding. I said, I just made one. There we go. Now, so simple. We got some leftover whipped cream. Put that in the fridge. Wash my hands. It's got a little blowout. Then I'm just going to smooth that gel out, or that glaze. Make sure it's nice and even. Oh, how pretty. It's like sunshine. Perfect for a summer picnic. I got some nice photos of my cheesecake. Now the moment of truth. The taste. And we're going to slice into it. Oh, so pretty. I don't want to cut into it. So I'm going to get some close-up shots of that. No, let's just get into it. My crust is a little thick. And you can, you don't want the cheesecake to stick on your knife. You want a nice clean slice. You can have a glass of hot water and put your knife in there. I'm going to get a paper towel and I have a nice pretty slice. I cleaned off that knife. It's easier to cut, not on the plate though. So just for cut, since I'm going to be cutting it, I want to not have that slice around. Probably could put a damp paper towel underneath the plate so it didn't move around. See, the first slice is always the hardest. Coming out. Oh my gosh, it came out so nice. Isn't that pretty? That is pretty. And I cut a slice for my husband. We're going to have some tonight. So the truth is in the testing. Let's go ahead and test out this cheesecake. Oh, it's good. It is tangy. It's not, I don't feel like it's overly. Might be, for some people it will be, because well, there's the tang of the mango also. Oh, it's nice and creamy. It is close to, the texture is close to, I think it's a French style cream cheesecake. More cream. It's a little dense, but mostly it's not like a New York style cheesecake density texture, but full of flavor, delicious. I think you're gonna love this. So let me know in the comments if you give it a try. What would you do better? This is really good. This is so refreshing for a summer picnic, dessert, summer night, having some friends over. It'll be a great thing to serve. Very refreshing, and I think it's decadent. So thanks for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. And go ahead, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that, because you can catch all my latest videos. Desserts, main dishes. We do a lot of brunch and appetizers also, and things for every day and special occasions. So if you're looking for something to spark your inspiration, I'd love for you to browse through some of the videos and see what you think you might like. And let me know in the comments. I'd love to have feedback. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of this. And we'll see you next time. We're back to home with Doreen.